She shared that when she was playing house with the boy at school, she kissed him on the cheek. She was worried about getting in trouble and was also embarrassed. I hugged her and said sorry that she was carrying that for all these years and that I want her to be comfortable telling me things. How do you balance the need for discipline while fostering the kind of relationship where your children will tell you things?
Heck, I did that whenever I was in kindergarten.
I did too, in a computer lab.
I know, right?
His name was Tyler.
Well, my guy's name was Brad. So there you go. And we both lived through it and all that. But whenever I did go home and told my mom I kissed a boy on the playground, I mean, I didn't get disciplined, but she did say, Karen, you don't need to do that. Boys need to chase you. You don't need to chase them. And then that was it. And she was like, I don't want to hear you doing that anymore. And I was like, okay, and I didn't. I just think you have to be honest with them and guide them. But in the meantime, let them know, just like this mom did, I will always love you. And no matter what you do, I'm a safe place for you. Hey everybody, it's Karen. And today on Wire Talk, we are diving into your parenting questions. From a strong-willed toddler to a teenager that is pulling away from one of the parents. And I'm going to talk about how to set boundaries with love and discipline, but also how to keep your child's heart intact through the whole process. I think you're going to really enjoy it. So let's get going.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Wire Talk. It's been a hot minute since we've been in the studio, and we are so excited. Yes. I'm so excited to be back. Hey Mom.
Hey, how are you?
Good. I'm
so good.
It's been
July since we were in here.
I know. And for those who are new at listening, the reason you probably don't notice if you've not been watching online or listening, but I had a baby. So
you had a baby.
I had a baby in August. So we pre-recorded August and September and July. So July was crazy. But yeah, it was awesome because I didn't want to miss a single episode with you guys because I just love y'all so much.
She's addicted now, guys. We've got her for life.
Yeah. And just so you know, if you never want to miss an episode, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel or any of our Birds on a Wire podcast, Wire Talk. It's a simple and free way for you to support the ministry because the more people that subscribe to the Wire Talk, that it reaches more moms. And that's what we're all about, is to reach and love on moms.
It's also very beneficial because the algorithms or whatever, it lets people that have never heard about Birds on a Wire, it'll pop up on their feed. So that's what we want, is to get it into the lives of all the mamas.
That's right, because Birds on a Wire is so great.
Wow, we try. We try real hard.
Yes, it's just very encouraging and it's simple and easy. And I've got my cup of coffee because I'm definitely back in that newborn life. And even though she's a good newborn, I haven't done newborn life in 5 years. So I'm like, oh, this middle of the night wake up is a little jarring,
Well, you look amazing, I have to say.
Thanks, Mom. I appreciate it.
You feeling good?
I feel really good. Brian was really sweet and we gave me a lot of rest those first week. And honestly, I like to go.
Y'all, let's just be real. Emily was out that door. I mean, I think you had her on Wednesday.
You
had to take her to the doctor to get weighed on Friday. And what did she do? She goes to the coffee shop, the local coffee shop, and coming and gets a cup of coffee. Like, walks in.
Yeah. I needed a cup of coffee. And I saw some of your friends.
I know. They were like, what are you doing here?
I was like, I needed a cup of coffee. So everyone's like, why did you leave the hospital? I'm like, I don't like to stay there for as long as...
She wasn't even in... You were in there 24 hours and that was it.
Yeah. I mean, longer than that.
Barely. We
had her Wednesday and we were home by Thursday by 9:00 at night.
Yeah.
I was like, let's go home. They're like, okay, sounds good.
That's Emily. And we do have a little pumpkin in the studio. We'll show y'all later on because right now she's sleeping.
But she's doing great. And
How the kids adjusted.
Oh, they're so sweet. The one I knew Harper. So if you're a new listener, I have 2 other older kids. Harper's
gonna be 7.
But gonna be 7 and Grayson's 5. And I knew Harper would be obsessed. I didn't realize how much Grayson was gonna love her.
Right.
Like this morning, I was gonna take her to the studio and record early, and he had to come of parts because she wasn't going with him to drop him off at preschool.
So he wants baby sister with him all the time.
And he calls her, he goes, oh, it's baby Ellie Wayne. And it's just so sweet. He calls her Ellie Lane, and I just love that.
Oh, y'all, and I'm just addicted to this baby.
She is. It's really sweet.
I mean, I just have to get my snuggles in every day.
Yes. But Mom,
So-
we've got a good episode, and
Yes.
not that they don't love us bantering back and forth about
Right,
my
but you're
new
saying
child.
let's get to
But
it.
we probably need to get
You're
going.
such a slave driver, Emily. So today we're going to be talking about balancing discipline and connection in parenting.
Mom, I have to balance the discipline between us.
Exactly. And what we mean by connection is sometimes we are afraid to discipline because we think that the child's going to pull away from us or not love us and all of that. But today we're going to be talking about how do you balance that? How do you balance disciplining your child, but also staying connected to them? And I think it absolutely can be done.
Definitely.
I did it with you guys, and I do definitely think it can be done.
Well, Mom, your favorite 3 words? Let's dive in.
Let's dive in.
Okay, starting off strong with question number 1. Hi, Karen and Emily. Oh, I got a shout out. Hi.
Yay.
I'm so thankful for the Birds on a Wire Moms Ministry. I don't have a good relationship with my mom, so I enjoy listening to the both of you chat together. I deeply desire this kind of relationship with my 3 daughters. My 8-year-old daughter told me yesterday that 3 years ago something happened that she didn't want to tell me because she didn't want me to get upset. She shared that when she was playing house with the boy at school, she kissed him on the cheek. She was worried about getting in trouble and was also embarrassed. I hugged her and said sorry that she was carrying that for all these years and that I want her to be comfortable telling me things. How do you balance the need for discipline while fostering the kind of relationship where your children will tell you things?
Heck, I did that whenever I was in kindergarten.
I did too, in the computer lab.
I know, right?
His name was Tyler.
Well, my guy's name was Brad. So there you go. And we both lived through it and all that. But whenever I did go home and told my mom I kissed a boy on the playground, she said, I mean, I didn't get disciplined, but she did say, Karen, you don't need to do that. Boys need to chase you. You don't need to chase them. And then that was it. And she was like, I don't want to hear you doing that anymore. And I was like, okay, and I didn't. As far as I can remember, I didn't, but who knows? But my point is, I just think you have to be honest with them and guide them. But in the meantime, let them know, just like this mom did, I will always love you. And no matter what you do, I'm a safe place for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. We had that, we had an interview, Erin Michelle, who's now on staff with Birds on Wire.
Yes, she is.
And she talked about how it's better to have 100 mini conversations.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Than just one big conversation. I think this mom is doing a great job just saying, hey, and I think you just, over time, they learn, well, mom didn't blow up. She's not going to be that mad. You know what I mean? So, but it does, I was one who never wanted to get in trouble. So I understand where this little one is from.
Yes, 100%. And most kids don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, true.
Most.
Yes.
So, but you definitely never wanted to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still don't like it. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Next question. A growing problem over the last few years with my green 13-year-old daughter is her relationship with her dad. She is hypersensitive to any criticism from him. If he raises his voice, she shuts down and is angry or holds a grudge. If I raise my voice or discipline her, our relationship bounces back much quicker. My husband is a strong blue and has made such an effort to stay calm around her and tried to engage her in questions and daddy-daughter time. But she's very stubborn and almost refuses to let him in at all. I'm at my wit's end trying to encourage her to spend time with him. He asked for my input on how to engage with her. For example, when she texted me about a good grade, I congratulated her and said text dad as well and tell him. She told me no. I feel she's just being stubborn, and if I continue to push, she'll resist more. However, I want to continue to emphasize that she has 2 parents and to include and respect him more. I'm a blue-green, so the simmering disharmony really bothers me at times. I have 3 girls, and she is my middle child. My husband's relationship is solid with the other 2. Both are mostly red. Any advice to help my family?
Oh, yeah. Well, here's the deal. She's 13 years old. And if she's green, she can definitely get in her stubborn ways and all of that. So let's go back to the grade situation. So I think I would have said, instead of like encouraging her to tell her dad, I would have told Greg, my husband, and then I would have told Greg to say, hey, your mom told me you got this good grade. I'm so proud of you. And let the dad lead out on it. You know what I'm saying? So, because I know, like, there was a phase with you. I just think dads in a daughter's life, is a really special relationship, even though she's not showing that right now, and they don't want to disappoint. And so probably when he raises his voice at her, it does shut her down. She doesn't feel as safe with him. And tell your husband that her core needs are respect, peace, quiet, and feeling of worth and lack of stress. So that's what he needs to keep in mind. So when he raises his voice, she initially feels rejected and shuts down, and that does not feel safe to her. I would strongly suggest to your husband to keep those things in mind while he's working with her and dealing with her. Also, she's 13 years old, so I'd give her a little bit of grace during this very awkward stage of being a teenager. So that's how I would handle it. I would 100% call out her disrespect towards her dad, and I would just say, hey, I heard the way you were talking to dad, and that's not good. We're not going to put up with that in this family. Your dad deserves our respect. He's a great man. He's loving. He's kind. And I know he lost his temper, but that's still no, two wrongs don't make a right.
Right.
So, and there was a season, I was going to say, where you weren't afraid to talk to your dad, but you didn't ever want to disappoint him so much. You would just cry and cry and cry whenever I would push you to talk to him. You know what I mean? And you'd be like, I don't know, he's going to get mad. And I'm like, no, he's not. Because your dad is very gentle and very calming. I knew Greg wouldn't get mad.
Yeah.
But it still was sort of almost an impasse for you at times. And we did work through it, but it was a lot of coaching you, like, just be honest with him and tell him how you feel. And you're like, okay. And then I'd circle back and I'd say, Emily, did you die? And you'd be like, no.
Almost.
And I said, did dad blow up at you? And you'd be like, no. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
He's a safe person to talk to.
Yeah. Greens do need a person. They do need to feel safe. And, not that this dad isn't making her feel that way, but over time, dad kept writing me notes, and it was like a sweet reminder of how much dad loved me, and I didn't have to give an immediate response.
Yeah.
And I really
needed, it was a private thing.
It was a private thing.
Well, that's a good suggestion. So maybe encourage your husband to write her notes and leave it in her room or on her pillow at night.
And they weren't like these long drawn. It was just like, Emily, I love you. Have a great day. Or like,
I'm so proud of you.
In middle school one day, he goes, I loved your hair today. And I was like,
really?
I was like, oh, that's so sweet. Like my dad packed my lunch. So, and so he would write me little notes in my lunch, and it made me feel very special. And it was like something that like just dad and I did. I mean, he did it with all the kids, but I didn't have to share it, or I was by myself when I opened my lunch at the school. So I didn't have to give him an immediate response. I'm a words of affirmation person, but I love a handwritten note because I can process the words by myself without giving an immediate response.
Yeah. And that's where that lack of stress comes in. Greens don't like to be called out in front of everybody.
Yeah.
So even if you're praising them, they don't like to be called out in front of everybody.
So
it's embarrassing.
It is.
All right. That really helps.
Okay, good. Next one. Thank you so much for your podcast. Your advice has helped me so much, especially the recent episode about having difficult conversations. My issue is that my husband gets so offended by our teenage son's moments of disrespect. Yes, our son could do better, but I feel this is normal teenage stuff. We have to discipline, of course, but how do I help my husband not take it so personally? I think this goes back to his own father and son relationship and how he was sort of starved for attention and therefore hung on his dad's every word. The fact that our son is secure enough to have normal blips seems better to me. Help.
I hear what you're saying. Okay. Thanks for writing in your question and also for listening. We love that you listen to us all the time. Okay. I totally see what you're saying because Greg was sort of the same way with Kelsey. She's our oldest. And whenever she was in high school, she was just that typical, high schooler pushing back against authority. And, I'm so big and you don't need to tell me and you don't have to remind me all the time to do all these things. And in our minds as parents, it's like, well, we do need to remind you because you're not doing them. But Greg kept sort of just with me, not with her. He kept saying, she's disrespectful and she's this and she's that. And I would say, Greg, overall, Kelsey is really a great teenager. Like, I don't think you realize what the level of all these teenagers are out there. So I suggested to Greg to become a small group leader in our church with the youth group. And I remember the first summer he went to camp and he was surrounded by all these teenagers. And he came home and he goes, I just have to say, Kelsey is a really great teenager. And I said, I know. Because I think Greg was focusing on, because Greg's that blue-green temperament. So perfection and high standards are very important to him. So I think he was just focusing on, what in his mind he thought Kelsey should be. But in reality, and we didn't tolerate disrespect around the house, but she was just a typical normal teenager. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. She wasn't like doing anything really bad.
Yeah.
And I think being around all these other teenagers opened your dad's eyes to see like, oh, wow. So Mom, maybe you should suggest to your husband that he go volunteer at church in the youth group department. He doesn't have to be a small group leader, but just to be around other teenagers to see that his son is still a great kid.
Yeah.
He's just growing up. They're just maturing. Teenagers, we just always have to keep in mind that they are still growing up. Even though they look like big adults.
Yeah.
They're not. Their brain is not there.
Brain's not quite there yet.
Yeah.
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 That's good advice, Mom.
Well, her husband might be like, no, I'm not going to do that. But I would even give him examples of other teenagers and just be like, so-and-so did this and this and this. And I'm not trying to compare the two, but I'm just trying to show you our son does respect you. Whenever he said this or whenever he did that, that was respect.
Yeah.
But he can't be perfect all the time.
Well, I think we have higher standards for everybody else around us too. Especially our children.
And I think our firstborns are always, I don't know if this kid is their firstborn. Did she say that? Yes, her oldest. Yes. I think we have higher standards with our oldest children because, we don't know at that point.
Yeah.
that they're going to mess up.
True that. All right.
Okay.
Moving on. You ready? Okay.
Hey, mamas. Have you ever wished that Karen would come to your community and speak to the moms in your church? Well, it's time to stop wishing. We are booking speaking engagements for 2026 right now, and Karen would love to come teach her life-changing content on temperaments, discipline, and all things motherhood to the moms at your church. Booking is easier than you think. If you're part of a church community that has resources to host outside speakers, head to boaw.mom/booking and fill out a simple form. We would love to partner with you to bring Karen and her practical parenting wisdom to your town. So head to boaw.mom/booking and fill out an inquiry form today. All right, let's get back to the show.
Well, if you are watching on YouTube, we, in between question 3 and starting 4, we had a fussy baby. So welcome Ellie to the podcast room. Yes. Mimi's holding her. So while I read the question, you can get your snuggles in. Okay. All right. Question 4. Dear Karen, I have a very smart little 3.5-year-old boy. For the past 6 months or so, I've really had trouble with him trying to get his own way, either through reasoning or throwing fits. My husband sometimes raises his voice at our son because consequences, timeouts, etc. aren't enough. The loud, commanding voice does the trick, and he has talked to me several times about how I'm not commanding enough and our son doesn't respect me. I agree. Our son doesn't respect me like he does his dad, but I do follow through with the consequence every time he disobeys, and I don't let him get away with anything I tell him not to do. But he still tests me all the time. I've tried raising my voice and copying what my husband does, but it just doesn't work for me. I'm the most laughable because I'm a little woman and a very kind, gentle personality, and the yelling just isn't me. I don't know what to do. How do I help my little boy see that I'm just as in control as daddy? How do I command respect? Can I do it by still staying myself, or do I need to man up a little?
I love that. No, you do not need to man up a little bit. I think you can command respect and be true to yourself as well. I think one way of accomplishing this is have your husband sit down with your son, with her sitting there, and I would say, I see that you're not respecting mom, and mom is my wife. Even though he's 3.5, this little boy can understand that. And I would say, mom is my wife, and I do not want you treating her the way that you're treating her. So whenever I come home from work, and if I'm going to ask her how you were today, and if she tells me you are not respectful to her, you're going to get punished by me. Okay, the dad. This happened years ago. I remember there was a sweet girl in one of my groups in the basement, and same thing. The little boy was very respectful to the dad, obeyed him all the time, but with the mom, he kept pushing back. And I told the mom, I said, you just have to be super consistent. And the second he disobeys or is disrespectful or whatever, you punish him right then, right there. Don't give him chances or any of that. You be consistent. And then I said to the dad, I want you to sit down and have that conversation with him. And he did. And she started being very consistent every single time. And I wish y'all could see this boy now. He's an adult and he is the most respectful. And I see on social media, like he was a football player and played in college, and he'd be like, I just want to, give this ball game to my mom. And it was just so sweet because I remember when he was a little boy, he just gave her fits. So, yes, you can stay true to yourself and you can be calm. And sometimes I think, it's good that a child sees that in you, but you can still demand the respect from him.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's sweet. And I think that's encouraging to see from not just in the little 3.5 world, but like him as an adult.
The future outcome. Yeah.
The other moms,
But it was hard. I remember when this mom went through all that. I remember they were at Chick-fil-A one time and she told him to sit down and behave, and he wouldn't. And she packed up their stuff and they left. And he had a little sister, and she let her eat the Chick-fil-A in the car on the way home, and she threw his meal away. And he goes, well, where's my lunch? And she said, you can get a PB&J whenever we get home. You don't deserve Chick-fil-A.
There you go.
And then I remember one time they were at the pool, and same thing. She told him, if you don't straighten up, we're going home. And she packed everything up and went home. And that's hard because I know as the mom, you feel like, well, I'm being punished too.
Yeah.
But you're teaching, and you have to always keep that in mind. I'm teaching this little love bug.
Little love bug.
Trying to get them to understand. But he did learn. She means business. She might be quiet, but she's mighty. And that's what we needed.
That's right. Well, we don't have any more questions, but we always want to leave Wire Talk on equip and encouragement. So what's one thing you can give to all the moms out there who are trying to have the discipline and parenting relationship coincide into one relationship?
Yeah, I think with discipline, it's always God tells us to discipline our children. He's very clear in that throughout the Bible. And he's also very clear that children need to obey their parents. So we can have confidence in that.
Yeah.
Secondly, I did discipline y'all, but then I always followed it up with a lot of love and hugs.
Yes.
And I would just say, I love you very much. And I know she's waking up. I love you very much, but I love you so much, I'm not going to allow this behavior to continue. Okay. Y'all want to see her face? Hold on. Oh, little pumpkin.
Say hello, everybody.
Say hi. My name is Ellie Lane Korosik.
And Lane is mom's maiden name.
That's right.
And when I was pregnant with Harper, Pop, which is mom's dad, he said,
he's passed away.
He goes, you're going to be a good mama. And when I had Harper, because she was born in October and he passed away in December. And I remember going over to Mima's house, and I was holding Harper, and he goes, see, baby. He always called his grandkids and you guys, baby. Yeah. He goes, see, baby, I knew you'd be a good mama. And I just remember that. And so it's like his little keepsake for her and me. So I think that's sweet.
I think that's sweet too.
Yes. So, well, I hope that this episode gave you some perspective and some encouragement. And Birds on a Wire is always here for you. So please don't forget to send in your questions. You can do that through the app. There is an Ask Karen button at the bottom, and we would love to get your questions in. But Birds on a Wire is here for you. We're here to be with you throughout your whole motherhood journey, whether you are college parents or baby parents like me or somewhere in between. So we are so thankful for you, and thank you for just always showing up and listening. And we will see you guys next week.